Welcome to Olds Mob 455. And when my buddy here picked up this new mill, I was telling him what it was like working in the machine shops. And they used to have these guys called time study. And they went to school and they learned, they got a degree, and I even took the same class, okay? So you'd measure every movement that a person made. And then you try to get the guy to change his work ethic so that he would end up doing the job as efficiently as possible. So these guys would usually work at a pace that looked like they were really moving fast, but they weren't, okay? And then as soon as they got a rate as to how long it took to make this widget, the guy would leave and they'd turn up the speeds on the machine, and they're trying to make as many parts as they can per hour, and then they'd make more money. But the machines were taking a beating, you know, they'd be feeding the material in way too fast, and then the cutters are struggling, they're wearing stuff out. So then the guys got wise to that, because, you know, somebody would be walking by and the machine's going as it's struggling to cut the metal. Well, then they started getting these locks. And once they set the speed and feeds of a part, then they'd lock this panel and you couldn't get in there to work on it. There's always wear and tear on a machine too. And then as you're working on these parts, the faster you're trying to cut at them, you build up more heat. So if they're asking for a piece to be 4 inches at exactly 4 inches, and you got a guy that's shaving metal off at too much of a rate, and all of a sudden he measures it and it's to size, and all of a sudden he's setting his parts down, and then it cools off and the expansion goes away because the metal cools down. All of a sudden they're undersized. So a lot of times these machines would wear out. So these guys have to get good enough at their machines to estimate as their final finished cut where to back off, where to take more off, you know, because these machines were really old and worn out. And they'd have to meet the tolerances without scrapping parts. So they had to learn their machines and figure out all the idiosyncrasies on them and know their materials, how much expansion they had too.